Hello students, welcome to a lesson through the virtual training center of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher, and in this lockdown period, since we are not able to go to school, children, we will be doing many lessons here online through the virtual class. So come on, let's proceed to our lesson for today.
So as you can see children, our lesson here in the beginning, you can see a background of the ocean or of the sea, where you can see marine life underwater. That is, you can see fish, you can see different kind of plants. Okay, so that means this particular lesson has got something to do with the sea and with the water, etc. So what is the lesson that we have for us today? So this video we will be talking about the lesson which is part of your standard 7th English textbook, and the name of the lesson is, you must have guessed it by now if you have seen your textbook, it is Chasing a Sea Monster. Alright, so this lesson is based around the sea and the ocean. And we are going to talk about a very adventurous story today. That is a story which will give you a lot of excitement. And it is about chasing a sea monster. All right. Now, when you look at this name of the lesson, you might imagine that you will learn about a story, or you will listen to a story in which there is a ship which is sailing and there are some monsters. Now, what are monsters? Monsters are these huge, fearsome creatures. Okay. And we don't know what they are. And when you don't know what they are, they become all the more scary. So this is also one idea which is there in the story, that things which you do not know about, you feel that they are very, very scary. Okay, so then are there monsters present in the sea, children? Have you ever heard of people talking about seeing a monster inside the sea? Now, I have not heard, but then there are some kind of, you can say, stories in your book which are fictions. Okay, now whenever you learn English language, you will learn language in the form of prose, in the form of poetry, in the form of grammar, etc. Now, when you talk about prose, now you have certain lessons which are based on real things. Okay, for example, you learned about Steve Jobs in the previous lesson, isn't it? Now, he is a living person. Okay, he had this big company. So, that is a part of, you can say, stories which are not fiction, they are reality. But when you read certain stories, you understand that these stories might not have happened in real life. For example, see in this picture, you can see a girl walking around with a stalk, and there is a very funny creature along with her. It is not a human being. I don't know whether it is a human being or it is a dwarf or it is a kind of a gnome. I don't know what it is. Okay, so these kind of stories which are not connected to reality and which are, you can say, like some imagination, they are called as fictions. All right, so fictions are also various types. There are different types of fictions, but in today's lesson we are going to talk about a science fiction. Okay, so fiction related to science, related to things around us, and related to technology, all these things will be considered as part of science fiction. All right. Now, you must not have read books related to science fiction. Some of you might have read, which is very good. Some of you might not have read books, but you definitely might have seen movies based on science fiction. All of us have at some point or the other seen movies based on science fiction. So, do you imagine, do you remember seeing these movies? So, have you seen the movie Avatar? So, the movie Avatar is an example of a science fiction movie where they lock up a person inside a big machine and that person's avatar goes to outer space. So, can this happen in real life? These are all imaginative. That is why they're called fiction. And they are imaginative stories related to science. So, they're called as science fiction. Okay. Now, look at this one more example, Star Wars. Now, this is also a very, very famous movie. Okay, many of us have seen this, some of you might not have seen this. Those who have not, you can go and watch it. Okay, it might be available on YouTube. You can just see what it means, what science fiction means. So similarly, the story that we have today, Chasing the Sea Monster, is also a science fiction novel. All right, it is a novel which has later been converted into a movie. And what is that novel? The name of the novel is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So you can see here, there are people talking about going underneath, okay, below the ocean. And how many feet below the ocean? How far deep? 20,000 leagues below the ocean. And it is a novel by a person called as Jules Verne. Now this person, Jules Verne, he was an expert in writing fiction stories based on science. Okay, so let us talk a little bit about our writer for today. So his name is Jules Gabriel Verne. Okay, he was a French writer who pioneered the science fiction genre. That means he was the first person who started writing about science fiction. Now, a person who wants to write about science fiction should have a liking for science, and also he should be able to imagine what might happen in the future. Okay, and of course a person who reads science fiction or watches science fiction stories also should be interested in science. Otherwise you will not like the stories. You will say, "Arey, ye kya bakwas hai? What all nonsense are they showing?" So you should have a liking for science and for things which might happen in future, adventure, etc. Okay, so you will get lots of this in the books written by Jules Gabriel Verne, and he was also, many of these books have been made into movies also. So there are, which are the novels that he is known for? 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, A Journey to the Center of the Earth, and Around the Earth in 80 Days. Okay, now a journey to the center of the earth. Now when you learn about the earth, you know that earth is full of lava, hot boiling lava inside. So there is no way that a person can reach the center of the earth alive. But again, this is science fiction. All right, and around the earth in 80 days. Now nowadays it is very easy. You can go around the earth not in 80 days but in 8 days or even lesser than that, because we travel by aircrafts nowadays. But this story, children, was written long ago. Okay, so Verne wrote about space, he wrote about air, and he wrote about underwater travel before air travel and submarines were invented. So see, even before aeroplanes came into existence, he has written about air travel. He has also written about submarines. That time submarines were not invented at all, and before practical means of space travel had been devised. So he has written about space travel when people did not actually know whether we can travel to space. So that is the capacity, or that is, you can say, the ability of a person writing science fiction. They have the ability to transport you into the future. Okay, now you will see in today's times have movies about people going to the moon, okay, people going on vacation, etc. But because that is not possible now, so people are thinking that it might become possible in the future. All right, children. So this is about the author of this particular novel from which our lesson today has been taken. So let us understand a little bit about the story in short before I show you some pictures. So 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is a classic science fiction published in 1870 under the title. Now this title is a French name. He was a French writer, so he has written this in French. And I do not know any French, unfortunately, so I will not try to read this. Okay, I do not want to make a mistake. So just remember, what is the name of the story? We are studying English now. So the name of the story in English is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And this is the French name. If any of you are able to if any of you at home know French, if your mother, father, someone knows French, you can make them read this. Okay. Then you have the story which begins in the United States, where the government assembles an expedition to track down and destroy a sea monster. So the United States, or America, is a very powerful country, isn't it? And it does a lot of work around the globe. So wherever there is a problem, America will go and try to help. So now here America, they put together an expedition. Expedition means a team of people. For what? To track down and to destroy a sea monster. Now I told you, when something you don't know about, you're very scared about it. So now there is a talk that there is some kind of monster in the sea. So United States says that we will track it and we will destroy it. Track it means find it and destroy it. So the monster, when they find out that it is actually a revolutionary boat, and that in those times, remember, it was written in 18, it was published in 1870, so it might have been written before that. So in that, so many years ago, that is, it is almost, you can say, 150 years ago, that time this person has thought about a revolutionary boat, that is a submarine which can run under the water. It is almost 100 years after the story was written that submarines were invented. Okay, so now these people, they try to catch the sea monster and they discover that it is not a monster at all. A monster is a living thing, but this is not a monster. It is a revolutionary boat and it is a submarine which is commanded by a person, a captain called as Captain Nemo. Okay, you must have heard about this story, Finding Nemo, which is a story of a small fish. All right. So Nemo was the captain of this particular ship. The book was very successfully adapted to the silver screen. Silver screen means it was made into a movie. And it was made into a movie also, if you can see, children, 1907. That is almost 120 years ago, it was made into a movie. So that is how popular this particular book or this particular novel was. Okay, now let us try to understand the storyline of the novel quickly. I will be reading and trying to explain the story in short here. After that, I will show you as many pictures as possible and we will try and connect the story in bits there then. So during the year 1866, ships of various nationalities sight a mysterious sea monster, which it is later suggested might be a gigantic narwhal. Now the narwhal is a kind of a big ship, whale, sorry. Okay, it's a big whale. Whales are actually very big creatures. So now a narwhal is a big whale. So now people of various nationalities, so on the seas, in the oceans, there are ships of various countries which go around to transport goods, to transport people, etc. So many people, many ships, many crew, the people on the who work on the ships, many crew or members from various ships, they reported that they have seen a sea monster, and they have not understood what it is, but they are guessing that it must be a giant whale. All right, so now the US government decides to get into action. So the US government assembles an expedition in New York City to find and destroy the monster. So see, track was the word which was used in the previous image. Here it is to find. So now who all are the people who are part of this expedition? So there is a person called as Professor Pierre Aronnax. He is a French marine biologist. Biologist means a person who studies about living things. Okay, whereas a marine biologist, he specializes in living things which live in the oceans and the seas. So this Professor Pierre Aronnax, he is a marine biologist, and also he is a narrator of the story. That is, the person Jules Verne, he has told the story through Professor Pierre Aronnax. So he is a narrator. He is in town and he receives a last minute invitation to join the expedition. So the US government, they invite Professor Pierre Aronnax to also join the expedition, because what do they doubt? They doubt that this monster could be a large whale. And he accepts it. Okay, he accepts it. He is happy to join the expedition. Now there is another person. He is a Canadian whaler and a master harpooner. Now I will tell you what the meaning of all these words are. Okay, a harpoon is a kind of a device. I will show you the picture also later. So he's a Canadian whaler. Whaler means a person who catches whales, and a harpooner also. And he is also, and there is also one person called as Conseil, who is Aronnax's faithful manservant. So there are many other people also. Among the other people, these are the important people who are part of the expedition. So the expedition leaves Manhattan's 34 Cent Pier aboard the US Navy frigate Abraham Lincoln. So they leave aboard a big US ship, a frigate. Okay, let us see what the meaning of a frigate is also in the later part of the lesson. And the name of the frigate is Abraham Lincoln. Then travel south around Cape Horn into the Pacific Ocean. So now they have entered the Pacific Ocean and they are searching and searching for the monster. Remember, the sea monster keeps on moving, isn't it? Because these people feel that it is something which is alive. So naturally, it will not get stuck in a particular place. It will keep on moving along the waters of the ocean. So they are searching and searching and searching for the sea monster. After 5 months of searching, they reach a place close to Japan, and the frigate locates and attacks the monster. They happen to locate the monster somewhere near Japan and they attack the monster. What happens is when they attack the monster also retaliates. Okay, the monster also attacks back and they damage the ship's rudder. Rudder, that is the bottom part of the ship. Now, the three protagonists are the people who are the main part of the story. They are hurled into the sea and they ultimately climb onto the monster itself. So, the ship experiences a big jerk and the people are thrown away into the sea and they have to climb on the monster itself. So, they see that the monster is there and they climb onto it in order to save their lives. And then they are startled means they're extremely you can say surprised to find that the monster is nothing but it is a futuristic submarine. A submarine is something which goes below the surface of the ocean. It is a kind of a ship which goes below the surface of the ocean. We have many submarines in the Indian Navy also, and the Navy or the naval forces around the world have submarines with them so that they can tackle and attack and they can also locate the enemy. Okay, so they wait on the deck of the vessel until morning when they are captured, hauled inside, and introduced to the submarine's mysterious manufacturer and commander, Captain Nemo. So they somehow hang on to the submarine till the morning and they are pulled into it, they are captured and they are taken inside and they meet the manufacturer of the submarine whose name is Captain Nemo. Okay, so actually the submarine was not an animal or it was not a monster at all. It was a man-made creation, that is, it was a submarine, but these people were not able to understand what it is. Their minds could not think that this kind of a thing would have been manufactured somewhere in the world, and that is why they were all scared, and that is why finally they got captured also by the commander or by the captain of that particular submarine. So, children, this entire story of the sea monster revolves around the submarine. Okay, now let us look at some images of modern submarines. Like I told you, this is a very, very old story where there were no submarines at that time. So now we have many modern submarines. Let us look at some submarines here. See, so this is how a submarine runs, and you can see on top it has got a kind of a looking device. Okay, so that is why they come out of water at certain moments in order to locate and record what they can see. Let us look at some more examples of real submarines in motion. So see, this is a submarine. Can you see? And this is a submarine moving. So it really looks like a monster, isn't it? If you don't know what it is, you will really think that it is a monster. And it might come in your dream also and scare you. Alright, so the whole story, the entire story of chasing the sea monster goes around this submarine, but they are not aware of it. The people on the board, the ship, they are not aware of it. So let us see who are the people on board. So these are the main characters. Okay, there is Professor Aronnax, there is Ned Land, there is a commander or a captain called Commander Farragut, and also there are many crew members. Crew members means people who work on the ship, sailors, etc. Okay, so these are the characters. Now what will you do as children? It is not possible for me to read the entire lesson here. The lesson is a very long lesson. So if I try and read the lesson, the half an hour will go into reading the lesson itself and you will get very bored. Okay, so what you will do is, at this point of time, now you know what the story is about. I have told you what the story is about. Now you will be able to connect to the story if you read the story now. Okay, so try to pause the video here and try to read the story so that you will understand what I was trying to tell you all this time. So now let us try to quickly look at some pictures to connect the story. So they are sailing, they're trying to locate the monster. So can you see here? They're trying to locate the sea monster. They're looking through their looking glasses, etc. And then they see a glowing kind of creature in the ocean. So there they have used the word firefly. Okay, so a glowing firefly, glowworm they have said. So what is a glowworm? A glowworm is a kind of an insect. You will see it in certain seasons when you go out, but nowadays it is difficult to see glowworms if you're living in a city. But if you're fortunate enough to living in a village or in a rural area, you will still be able to see glowworms. Okay, so they could see this glowworm kind of thing in the water, sometimes coming up, sometimes going down, and also it was generating a kind of electric field around it. Okay, so they were getting very worried, they did not know what to do, and somehow they started chasing it and they attacked it also. All right, but then the monster attacked them in return and they landed on the stern of the monster itself. See, they tried to use a harpoon also in order to attack the monster, but unfortunately they could not do anything and they got captured. Okay, they somehow got onto the stern of the monster of the submarine and they realized that, array, this is a submarine. And then they got captured by Captain Nemo and they were taken as prisoners. So this was a story. So this was a summary of the story. So three men, they search for a gigantic monster and they fall off their ship because of the disturbance in the sea. And a captain named Captain Nemo, he saves them. Saves them means he is the commander of the submarine. He saves them, but he makes them his prisoners. So in the quest for freedom, they see many creatures also around them. So this is the summary of the story for you children. Now, as I promised you earlier, let us look at some words which might be new for you. Okay. So before that, there is this particular exercise in your textbook. So this is an image from your textbook. So what is this? This is a warship. Okay, and there are certain, you can say, parts of the ship marked out for you. Now remember children, these kind of ships we won't be able to see today. Okay, we do not have ships sailing with masts, etc. We have all ships which sail using machines and computers nowadays. So we all have modern ships nowadays. But see, this could be the parts of a ship which is a frigate, that is, which is a fighter ship. Now in your textbook, you can open your textbook and you can keep this figure open in front of you. You have this particular match the following exercise where you are supposed to match the part of the ship to the meaning. So you have yard, you have mast, you have bow, you have deck, forecastle, starboard, stern, afterdeck, fore. You are supposed to match it with what it could mean. I have done a few for you. The remaining is your work. It is your assignment as part of this lesson. So a yard is what? It is a pole which is slung across the ship's mast. The sails hang from a yard. So like I told you, all these parts, the mast, the sail, etc., you will not find it in today's ships. Okay, today's ships are highly mechanized. Now what is a mast? A mast is the part which is always at the front while the ship is sailing. And what is a bow? A bow is the forward part of the main body of a ship. So I have helped you with some of the answers. Now it is your job to look out and search for the other answers. Okay children, let us move on and let us try and see some meanings like I told you. So see, what is a frigate? So a frigate is a warship. So there were ships which were used in order to transport people, which were called as passenger ships. Okay, then you had ships which were used to transport goods from one place to another. They were called as cargo ships. Okay, and then you had a kind of ship which was used only when a country used to go to war with another country, not in peace but during war. These kind of ships were called as frigates. Okay, and what is the name of the frigate in this particular story? It is the Abraham Lincoln. Okay, so that is the meaning of a frigate. Let us look at the meaning of the next word. Now there is this word also which is mentioned. The name of these kind of animals are cetaceans. Okay, they are cetaceans. So what are cetaceans, children? They are a type of sea animals that comprises of 89 species of whales, dolphins and porpoises. So these are all different kind of sea animals. Okay, whales, you know, dolphins you must have heard about, okay, and porpoises. So these are different kind of sea creatures. They are all together called as cetaceans. Okay, then let's move on and let us talk about this particular word. So what are these? These are blunderbusses. So this is an old word, children, and these are old kind of guns. Okay, today you have the AK-47s and the AK-57s. So now these are blunderbusses. Now what are blunderbusses? They are short, large bored guns which fire balls or slugs. Okay, slugs means bullets and balls means those balls. Okay, like you have those cannon balls. So have you seen this kind of a gun in today's times? You might have seen them in a museum and not in real life. Okay, now why are these kind of words and these kind of things used in the story? Because the story is a very, very old one. Okay, so a blunderbuss is a short, large bored gun which is used for firing balls or slugs. Now what are duck guns? Duck guns are used to shoot ducks or waterfowl. Waterfowl means uh, birds which live near water. So these kind of guns which are used especially for shooting ducks are called as duck guns. And then you have a harpoon. What is a harpoon? A harpoon is a kind of a missile. Missile means something which goes flying. Okay, but this missile is not attached to a machine because there were no machines of these kind in those days. So it is attached to a long rope and it is thrown by hand or it is fired from a gun. Okay, and it is used to catch whales and other large sea creatures. So they fire the harpoon, and these harpoons are sometimes medicated also. They have some kind of medicine at the tip which makes the whale faint or the shark faint, and then they pull these animals in. Okay, so this is a harpoon. Who's a cannoneer? So a cannoneer is an artillery man. Okay, a cannoneer, sorry, is an artillery man who positions and fires a cannon. Now cannons are also things which we don't see nowadays. Okay, you can again see cannons when you go to visit these huge old forts, or when you go to visit museums you will be able to see cannons. So artillerymen, artillery, what is the meaning of artillery here? Artillery means guns which are used in warfare on land. Okay, when you're fighting on land and when you use guns, those guns are called as artillery. Finally, you have the armor. So what is the armor? The armor is like the protective gear which people wear when they go to battle. Okay, so the metal coverings formerly worn, not now, to protect to protect the body during battle are called as armors. So children, like I told you, this is a rather long lesson and there are some parts of grammar also in this lesson. So we will not be able to complete everything today, children. So what I have done is I have split this lesson up into 2 videos. So this is the first part for you today. So wait for the next part which will come up next week.
So children, wasn't that a wonderful video? And did you enjoy watching it? So if you want to watch more such videos in future, then please like this video and also subscribe to our channel, the MCGM Portal for Education, and also hit the bell button so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video here. Thank you so much for now. Let's meet again soon.